The conquest of Mexico by the Spaniards was one of the greatest achievements of the 16th century, and, who led the effort, is one of the most famous conquistadors in history. But how much do you really know about him? In this video, we will explore the life and accomplishments of one of the greatest warriors of all time. Early was born in Spain in 1485 to a noble family. His father was a member of the Spanish nobility, and his mother was the daughter of a wealthy merchant. Despite being born into privilege, Cortés' early life was not without its challenges. When he was just 8 years old, his father passed away, leaving his mother to raise him and his 4 siblings alone. This undoubtedly had an impact on Cortés' personality and sense of ambition, which would later lead him to become one of the greatest conquerors in history. As a young man, Cortés was sent to live with relatives so that they could oversee his upbringing. However, he would soon break free from their care and set out on his own to make a name for himself. It was not long before he found himself drawn to the New World and the opportunities that awaited there. The Aztec Empire. When Cortés arrived in Mexico in 1519, he did not realize the impact he would have on the course of history. The Aztec Empire stretched from the southern border of modern Mexico all the way up to the northern border of modern Texas. At its peak, it controlled a vast network of trade routes that connected the Pacific and Atlantic coasts of the Americas. The Aztecs were also known for their impressive cities, such as Tenochtitlan, which was home to over 400,000 people at the time. They were also highly advanced for their time, with a sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Despite the empire's size and power, it would not last for much longer. That's because the Spanish conquistadors, including Cortés, were determined to claim the land for Spain and convert the native population to Christianity. Cortés and his men began their journey through the Aztec Empire in what is now Mexico City. They were initially welcomed as guests of the Aztec Emperor Montezuma II. However, tensions soon began to rise between the two groups, and war would eventually break out. Cortés' army was outnumbered, but they were able to defeat the Aztecs thanks to their superior weapons and fighting techniques. Cortés' men used horses, steel armor, and firearms, while the Aztecs had only wooden weapons and crude armor made of cotton. Cortés' army was also able to take advantage of the fact that the Aztecs had never seen a Spaniard before and were therefore unfamiliar with their tactics. This, combined with the fact that Cortés had formed alliances with some of the Aztecs' enemies, allowed him to gain the upper hand in the conflict. Once Cortés and his men had defeated the Aztecs, they began to plunder the city for gold and other treasures. They also destroyed many of the Aztec temples and other religious sites. The Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire is a brutal and tragic part of history. Thousands of indigenous people were killed or enslaved during the conquest, and many more died from diseases brought over by the Spaniards. Cortés' actions and personality despite the brutality of the Spanish conquest, Cortés is often seen as a hero in Spain. He is celebrated for his bravery, determination, and military skill. There is no doubt that Cortés was a skilled warrior and leader. He was able to defeat a much larger and more powerful enemy and claim vast amounts of land for Spain. He was also a shrewd politician and diplomat, able to form alliances with some of the Aztecs' enemies. However, it is important to remember that Cortés was also a ruthless conquistador who was willing to do whatever it took to achieve his goals. He was responsible for the deaths of thousands of innocent people and the destruction of an entire civilization. It is therefore important to get to know both sides of this complex figure in order to form an accurate picture of who he was. Cortés' legacy is a complicated one. On the one hand, he is seen as a hero in Spain for his role in the conquest of Mexico and the Aztec Empire. On the other hand, he is reviled by many for the brutality and destruction that he unleashed on the native population. Ultimately, it is up to each individual to decide how they view Cortés' legacy. There's no doubt that he was a complex figure who is both a hero and a villain. He was a skilled warrior and leader, but he was also a ruthless conquistador who was willing to do anything to achieve his goals. Cortés' story is a reminder of the complexities of history and the need to understand all sides of an issue before forming an opinion. Personal life. While Cortés' military and political career is well documented, there is much less known about his personal life. We know that he was married twice and had several children, but little else. Cortés was known to be a charismatic and charming man, which no doubt helped him to succeed in his endeavors. He was also said to be a devout Catholic, which gave him the strength and determination to carry on in the face of adversity. In addition to his military and political career, Cortés was also a writer and published several accounts of his travels and conquests in the New World. These writings provide valuable insights into the Spanish conquest of Mexico and the Aztec Empire, as well as the life and culture of the people who lived there. Later, life and death. After the conquest of Mexico, Cortés continued to serve the Spanish crown in various capacities. He was appointed governor of New Spain and spent much of his later life administering justice and promoting Christianity in the region. Cortés also participated in the conquest of Cuba and other parts of the Caribbean. In his later years, Cortés became increasingly concerned about the treatment of the native population in the Americas and began to speak out against the brutality of the conquistadors. Despite his efforts, however, the mistreatment of the indigenous people continued, and Cortés eventually grew disillusioned with the Spanish crown. Cortés died in 1547 at the age of 62. He was buried in the monastery of San Francisco in Mexico City, where his remains rest to this day. Conclusion: Hernán Cortés was a true legend of the 16th century. He was a brave, determined, and ruthless warrior who led the Spanish conquest of Mexico and the Aztec Empire. He was also a skilled leader, politician, and writer who played a major role in shaping the history of the Americas. Though his legacy is a complicated one, there is no doubt that Hernán Cortés was one of the most fascinating and influential figures of his time. We hope you enjoyed learning about this amazing warrior. If you want to learn more about other great warriors, be sure to check out our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Facts about when Cortés arrived in Mexico: he had only about 600 men with him, while the Aztec Empire had a population of over 11 million people. Cortés's army was able to defeat the Aztecs, despite being outnumbered by using superior weapons and fighting techniques. Cortés was also aided by the fact that the Aztecs had never seen a Spaniard before and were therefore unfamiliar with their tactics. Cortés formed alliances with some of the Aztecs' enemies, which gave him a numerical advantage in the conflict. Cortés's men used horses, steel armor, and firearms, while the Aztecs had only wooden weapons and crude armor made of cotton. The Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire is a brutal and tragic part of history. Thousands of indigenous people were killed or enslaved during the conquest, and many more died from diseases brought over by the Spaniards. Cortés is often seen as a hero in Spain for his role in the conquest of Mexico and the Aztec Empire. Cortés was also a writer and published several accounts of his travels and conquests in the New World. Cortés became increasingly concerned about the treatment of the native population in the Americas and began to speak out against the brutality of the conquistadors. Hernán Cortés died in 1547 at the age of 62. He was buried in the monastery of San Francisco in Mexico City. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more historical tales. Delve into the stories of epic battles, legendary heroes, and the rise and fall of civilizations with our new series. Each episode is a captivating journey through time, exploring the most significant moments in human history. From the clash of swords to the clash of civilizations, these stories have shaped our world and continue to resonate today. Join us and relive the greatest moments in history.